Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. So I did a review previously on the Motherwell solo luggage rack that goes on the back of the Harley-Davidson Softail and my 2018 Heritage specifically. And after I did that video, they asked me if I would do a review on their new product, which is the backrest with luggage rack. And I said, of course I would. So if you're not into motorcycles, and this is not for you, well then I'll see you on the next video. But I definitely wanted to do a review of this luggage rack in particular. It's actually the one that I wanted originally, but I was going back and forth. I thought the solo rack looked better. I still actually think that, but this is far more functional for me. And what I like the most about this rack is that it's quick detach, so it works with the Harley quick detach hardware. So you just push these two little release levers in here, and the seat does come off. It makes it easier to pull it on and off, and then it just clips up on the hardware here. And Harley actually provides, obviously on the Softail, this Heritage, they provide that stuff because it's part of the saddlebag. But Motherwell actually does send the mounting hardware if you don't have the saddlebags, so you can actually attach this. And it does come shipped with this rack detached, but it's just 4 screws. If you can put this thing on, you can attach the rack. It's incredibly simple. But the reason why I wanted this rack is because it's just easier to put my helmet when I stop for lunch or something like that, to throw it up over the back, and I can lock it onto the back rack here. One less thing I have to carry to lunch with me. I can just choose to leave it out on the bike, especially when it's cooler like this. I'm not worried about the sun baking on the helmet or anything. So for me, this is just more functional. I also like that I can put a backpack with the backrest here. The solo rack, you can tie it down and ratchet everything down right to the back of the bike, fine. But for me, I like the backrest. It's a little more comfort to me knowing that the bag's actually attached to something rigid that's vertical. And if you really had to, I mean, you could put the bag on rear facing with the straps around the backrest here, or if you have no passenger, you can put it on here with the straps, around the back. So it's a lot more versatile to me than the solo rack. I think the solo rack has a little sportier feel. It makes the back of the bike look a little more sleek, which is really cool. But I really actually like the look of this backrest on this Heritage Softail. It makes it look a little more touring bike to me, in my opinion. So I've actually been riding with this now for a few days. I just didn't do an unboxing or anything because there's really not much to show for an unboxing, but it does come packaged up real nice. It is really protected. So if packaging is a concern to you, you really have nothing to worry about as far as that is concerned. Am I the only neurotic one that anytime I leave somewhere, I always look back where I just left to make sure I'm not leaving like my phone or anything behind? I do that every time I go somewhere. So I'm really happy with the arrangement that I have with Motherwell. They were really cool to send out that back rack, the solo rack that I did for the first time. And they had asked me to do this backrest rack, which I believe is out now. And I'll link on the website down below where you can get this backrest. And another reason for the backrest version of the rack is, well, my wife, when she rode on this bike, she really was unsure of the feeling of being basically thrown off the back of the bike on that relatively smaller passenger pillion that comes on this Heritage. So this backrest just gives me the option to have her on the back and not feel like she's gonna go flying off the back every time I get off a red light. It just really allows me to really put this bike to work more as like a touring bike, in my opinion. With that rest, again, it gives me somewhere that I can toss my helmet on at a quick stop somewhere, especially wearing glasses as a rider. Every time you get on the bike, you have to take your glasses off and set the helmet down and then put your glasses back on. And I do hang it up on the throttle when I'm sitting in parking spaces, but that is just like a recipe for disaster. I've actually caught it twice from falling. But I'm just one not paying attention moment away from that helmet smashing on the ground, and it's a $400 helmet. So I would rather have that backrest where I can just throw that helmet up over top of the rear, and you know, again, it's just more functional. And a big reason why I bought this Heritage was functionality, in my opinion. And the more that I ride this bike, the more I'm convinced that this bike really is the do-all motorcycle. You know, it's got the bigger motor with that 114, and it's 120 pounds lighter than a touring bike, but you gain your saddlebags, so you have the functionality of carrying stuff around town with you. And now with that backrest on the back of the bike and the rack that comes with it, now I can just throw more stuff on the back of the bike. So again, it just really becomes a great all-around bike. It's quick, it's responsive, it's in my opinion, again, I'm so happy that I bought this motorcycle. So again, this was a quick review of the Motherwell backrest with rack for the 2018 Heritage. So if you like it, you can check the link down in the description down below. And like always, if this is your first time tuning in, please click that subscribe button down below. And remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. And we will see you guys next time. Well, I'm not a huge fan of riding shoulders like a douche, but man, this bike started to get really hot. I mean, I guess that's what you have a motorcycle for, right? But you really can't sit there. I tried to stop and kill it like 3 different times, but at that point it's like I'm gonna kill my battery just starting and stopping this bike. And you see my temperatures, engine temperatures over 306, head temperatures 338. And it's really nice to have that Dynojet for situations like that. I mean, I tried to sit there as long as I could without being a jerk, but you got to get to the point where you got to do what you got to do, I guess. I was actually going to hop off over here, assuming the accident was further down this way, just luckily it kind of cleared up right where I needed to. But man, I can't sit there with the bike in those temperatures, overheating and killing the bike. So I'm not sure if that's legal, but I can tell you that it's necessary on a bike. So it's almost like that's a time when lane splitting would be a good thing to be legal. I hate lane splitting. I would never do it in like a daily routine, just because I don't trust people paying attention not to change lanes into me. But what I can say is that in that situation, lane splitting certainly would make sense, because the bike, you can't sit there and idle like that. It gets too hot. And if you're not into motorcycles and you don't know motorcycles at all, And basically it's an air-cooled motor, so when you're running, it's cooling off just by the air blowing over the motor, but when you're sitting, there is nothing there to cool that thing off. So that was a necessity to start moving. So is what it is.